So I was gonna talk about Woodstock and that whole era. There's so many things that happened before that. You know, I had 3, 4 different girlfriends in there. I had this one girlfriend, her father was a national hero, actually. Anyway, I'm sitting on a porch one night. I hear this bam. I said, wow, there's a gunshot, man. It's right around the corner there. So I go over the corner, and there was police and stuff. I didn't find out what happened that night, but the next morning I did. My cousin, who was a banker at the time, was the bank president actually. He had a house on the avenue, and he was going to testify against a guy by the name of August Lippy, a mob boss. And somebody from someplace put a bullet through the door, figuring if he was at his desk, they would have got him. And it was a high-powered rifle. It did go through the door, but he wasn't at his desk. So it was more or less a warning shot to shut your mouth. Whether he ever testified against, the guy's name was Augustus Lippy, I don't know. But that was some of the kind of stuff in my neighborhood, things that happened in my neighborhood. I used to also ride with the motorcycle gang for, I don't know, maybe a year and a half I rode with them, but it started getting pretty nuts.
I was going to say, were you a peaceful bunch of...
No, they
closer to Hell's Angels than...
wait, the Hell's Angels do come into this. Anyhow, I rode with them for about a year and a half, and started getting people with shotguns and people getting shot at and things like that. I wasn't into that. I was just into riding a motorcycle, having some fun. This guy's fun was starting to get pretty nasty. So I left the gang, more or less. They rode on. One of them, I shouldn't mention names, he's probably dead by now anyhow. Maybe not. You know, he actually crucified a female. Actually pinned her to the wall with nails, crucified her. And he ended up in jail up in New York. Dutch, who was the leader, just died about 2 years ago. He was the last of us. I'm the only one surviving out of the whole gang.
You're the last of the Mohicans.
I'm the last of the Mohicans. There was another guy by the name of Ray Renero or Fushan. I grew up with him from a little kid. I never did know which name was his, Renero or Fushan. But there was him and JJ and Francis. They lived right down the street, and we used to go. Their father would bring home watermelon. We'd sit around and eat watermelon. On Saturday mornings, I'd go over there and we'd listen to a radio program called The Shadow Knows. Yeah. And a couple other radio shows. But he was one of the gang later on. But Ray was also one day got in a bar fight and took a bar stool and just manslaughtered the guy, killed him right on the spot. Just blam. So he did, I think, 7 years in prison for that manslaughter, because it was a spur of the moment thing. It wasn't planned out.
Yeah.
And he got off on good time. He was what they call a runner. A runner is somebody who runs messages in the prison system, and he's usually trusted by all the inmates. So Ray more or less ranked. So anyhow, I rode with him. Then I lost track of most of those guys. I left my life onto a different level. But one day, I'm riding down the freeway in LA. Ray's name was Wop. Okay, we all had different names. Mine was Rolsey, Dutch, Oatsy, Potter. We all had nicknames. There was no real names. So I'm riding down the freeway, and there's Whopper. Holy jeez, I hadn't seen Whop in years. I pull over the side. I'm talking, you know, the major freeway in LA. There was this hitchhiking. Holy shit, Ray, what are you doing, man? Da-da-da-da-da. Come to find out he's been out in L.A. for a while. I guess I'm not sure if he held it up in broad daylight or burgled it at night, but he did a supermarket in, and he was out on bond, and he skipped bail on a guy by the name of Smitty from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. We partied pretty hard for about a day or so. L.A., you know, party is natural. Ray went to his apartment. Where the heck was he? I think he was in Culver City. I was down on Santa Monica Beach. We partied. About a day later, Ray come over the house. He was with a low-riding chick. I don't know if you people know what a low-rider is, but
The pants, that's all I know, like low.
well,
Hug your
a
waistline.
low-rider chick usually has their hair teased way up. They're usually Spanish, because Spanish.
Oh, like a Lola?
No, low-rider.
Okay.
Low-rider. Remember that song?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's a low-rider.
Yeah.
Low-rider. So anyhow, and he had a low-riding Riviera, a blue one, I'll never forget it. He comes up and he's got a female, low-rider female, and he's got a low-riding Riviera, a newer Riviera. He says, I'm going to go do a lumberyard and you want to come? I said, you know, Ray, it's never been my thing. He was a burglar, he was a thief, a burglar, murderer, whatever you want to call him. He was a good guy as far as I was concerned, but you don't want to get him mad. Anyhow, that next morning, as he was walking in his apartment, somebody with a shotgun just let him have it. Killed him right on the spot. So I don't know if he did the supermarket in, or the lumberyard rather, if it was retribution for something or what it was. All I know is he's dead, period. And when I went back to my home area, ran into his ex-wife, almost no one can believe that I had seen him right before he died, because nobody had seen him back in that area for a long time. So I had a little bit of experience with the motorcycle guys, okay?
Yeah.
Some other crazy things we used to do. You know, you wonder how you lived through some of this stuff. We used to take...
How dangerous it was?
Well, yeah, let me tell you. Anyhow, the motorcycle gang guys, this is what happened to them in the end. The Hell's Angel...
Oh, yeah.
from New York City, invited them to a party. So the gang goes, Putter, Otzi, Dutch, I don't know if Ray was there or not, Sam Bob, trying to think of who else might have been with them. Anyhow, I hadn't seen them in a long time. Like I said, I went off on my own. I was into other things, peaceful. I was into the love and peace type of thing, okay? Still am.
Amen.
They invite them to a party and they drug their foods. They start beating the living hell out of them, okay? Took their motorcycles, and Putter escaped and got to the cops. The cops broke in, got the guys out of there. Never did get their motorcycles. They pretty much came back to the valley, home, wherever, what we call the valley, without their motorcycles, beat the shit. And needless to say, that was pretty much the end of that motorcycle gang. It was called the Vulcans. I rode with the Vulcans for about a year and a half, I guess.
Man.
We had it got pretty wild, but when it started getting to where one night, a guy by the name of Graham, let's see, Dutch blew his window out with a shotgun. Or Graham blew Dutch's out. I'm not sure which one turned the shotgun on which, but that was about the end of it. That's when I said, nah, this is not why I got on a motorcycle.
Why did you get on it?
I still like it. I still ride them. I like them. You know?
How'd you pay for gas, from city to city? How'd you afford, upkeep on your motorcycle?
Oh, motorcycles were cheap to keep. I mean, I always worked.
Even in the gang, you'd pick up like an
Yeah,
odd job.
no, I wasn't moving around. This was back in my hometown.
Oh, you stayed in one town.
We
It's not
stayed
you're
in this, yeah,
traveling.
oh
Okay.
yeah. This is before I got mobile and everything. This is when I'm still a kid.
How old were you?
I was like 15, 16 years old. I mean,
You were in a motorcycle gang at age
yeah,
15.
I started riding a motorcycle before I knew how to ride a car. You kidding me?
This is crazy. This is in like the early 60s, right?
Yeah.
So this is after, the wild ones, like Marlon Brando.
This was like around the time that I quit school and did all that stuff, man. Yeah.
Did you wear like, did you do like jean jacket or
Oh
leather jacket?
yeah, you kidding me? Yeah, I had the black leather jacket with the skull on the back and the black motorcycle boots with the light blue jeans, and I was a regular little toughie, man. You know.
Did you guys have a logo for your gang?
Like I said, the Vulcans. We were the Vulcans.
What was the logo? I mean, or
No.
did you
Oh,
have
there
like
there was no colors.
Okay.
No, we didn't have colors. I had a sheepskin vest, and I had swastikas on it and the whole.
What?
Oh yeah.
Ironically or what?
No, it's a motorcycle gang, man. Do crazy things.
Well, it wasn't like you meant it in like the way people look at it now.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you were just a kid, so I mean, I guess.
Right. I mean, I didn't know that much better. No, but I mean.
Oh, okay. So.
But no, we did go into like the drive-in and we'd take over the whole freaking row and stuff. We can go in and cause hell. People were afraid, and we go in and do stupid things.
And you were enough of a threat that the Hells Angels saw fit to take care of you guys. That's actually almost a compliment.
Yeah.
That a couple.
Not me. Like I said, I got out because it got too nuts. I just wanted to. I didn't want to. I'm not looking for violence, guys. But at the time it sort of felt good. But then I said, nah, this isn't any fun. Worrying about getting busted, the cops, the whole 9 yards, beaten up, people getting shot. Nah, that's not fun. That's violence. That's not something I want to do.
Even back then, that was your sense.
No, I've pretty much been a peacenik most of my life. I mean, I never even wanted to fight. My father always says, he was right, if you got to use your fists, you're not using your brains. Any man that's got to use his fist to get out of a predicament or whatever is not using his brains. Use your brains, not your hands. So he didn't teach us to fight. He taught you to use your brains and avoid such nonsense.
When
basically.
the axe is dull, the lumberjack will have to use more wisdom to cut down the tree.
Yeah.
If you're not that smart, you have to find a different way.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like a lot of people today, they have not enough brains to think their way through it. They just pull out a gun and shoot somebody, And that's what these guys started doing. And I said, no, that's not using your brains, guy. That's being brainless. Like I said, you wonder how you lived through some of this stuff. I mean, I really do, to this day. We used to take, this is all mixed in, Like I said, and in the meantime, I still had another group of friends I ran around with, and we'd drink beer. I had a girlfriend, couple of them actually, because I had one fag that was in love with me that used to give me books to read,
What kind of books?
Who taught me a lot of things. One was called A Portrait of Dorian Gray.
Oh, Oscar Wilde.
Oscar Wilde, yep, and what do you call it? Altruism. He was well educated, and he would give me books that would broaden my horizons. Rather, he wasn't.
Did you ever read Ulysses?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Well, we had to read that in Latin. Are you kidding me?
Oh, you were taught Latin?
Yeah. Yeah. I went to Catholic school, man.
Oh, yeah.
But anyhow.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
This is the amount of time we stole all the dynamite. We used to get a box of bullets. This is how stupid we were. Big bullets, not even 22s, big ones. Put them in the fire. When they started going off, the first one to duck was a chicken. That's how stupid we were.
Mushy-headed as a kid?
And nobody ever got killed.
No one ducked?
No one ducked and no one got killed. I can't believe it to this day that nobody got killed. Later on, some of the guys were playing Russian roulette and one of the guys got killed. Bullet was in the chamber. They used to pull the trigger. You didn't pull the trigger for yourself. Somebody else pulled the trigger. You'd spin the barrel and somebody else would pull the trigger.
You're playing for real.
Oh yeah, yeah. Joe's dead. Are you kidding me? Joe Moschini.
How old? Are you the teenagers still?
Yeah, we're still teenagers. Yeah.
You're right. How did you survive
Oh
a
yeah.
bike game?
Yeah.
Roulette?
Like I said, we stole all that dynamite.
Yeah.
And we used to just blow stuff up. You know, I mean, we would throw it at each other. You know, sticks of dynamite. But the stuff wouldn't explode unless you hit it with electricity, you know.
Like the first time, I think you said something about the charge, like 1,
Yeah,
2,
the
and...
1s, the 3s, and the 5s and stuff. We didn't know what they meant, so we just put a 1 in the end of a stick of dynamite, hit it to the battery, and blam, it went off. 1 second. What you got? Oh, that's what the 1 is, huh? That's what these little blasting caps, the 1s, the 5, that's what they mean. Oh, okay.
And your friends, like, did it end well with that, or did everyone survive?
Well, no, the 1, yeah, it ended well, but the 1, when it went off, it blasted my buddy Danny. I mean, you know, we looked at him, he was covered in blood.
Every pore of his body was bleeding.
Yeah.
That face toward the blast, at least.
Yeah, because we just set it on this black soot from the coal mines. It was coal dust, and we didn't want to put it in anything because we didn't know what it was going to do. So we just set it on the ground, and when they hit the 1 and it went off, that black soot just blasted. And
like shrapnel.
And it flew into Danny, and all of a sudden he had just like little drops of bloodlet just oozing out of all the little holes, man. Really nasty stuff. Yeah, we blow the dynamite. We put it in the swimming hole, and we're going to make the swimming hole deeper. so we put a bunch of it in the swimming hole and ignite it, and man, it blew the hell out of it, but it killed all the fish. Now we couldn't swim in the swimming hole because it stunk, man.
So, what wasn't your, speaking of dynamite, like, were you the demolitions expert since, you know, it ran in your family? Wasn't your grandpa?
My grandfather was, yeah. He blasted over in England. He that's how our family got to America. My grandfather came to America to teach because when he first started blasting under the North Sea, up in a place called Rowlands, England.
That's where you get your name, right?
Right, after my uncle, who started a town up there on the.
Oh, we're out of time. We're gonna start right over.